Hidden from sight for over 2 millennia, ancient steps have been unveiled at the renowned ancient Pool of Siloam in Jerusalem, a site of profound significance in both the New and
places
Old
the Pool of
Testaments.
Siloam, but the origin of the Pool of Siloam go back to the First Temple period and have always been attributed to King Hezekiah. King Hezekiah was facing
For
a
nearly
critical
2,000 years, dust and silence guarded a secret beneath Jerusalem's ancient hills, a secret written in the pages of Scripture, dismissed by skeptics, and nearly erased by time itself. Then, one ordinary day, shovels struck stone, and history's heartbeat echoed again. What they found wasn't a myth, or a legend, or a coincidence. It was a living testimony, buried and waiting, as if the city itself had chosen this generation to see it. The Pool of Siloam, once spoken from the lips of prophets and the Messiah himself, has returned to the light. But this is more than archaeology. It's the collision of faith and fact, promise and proof. And as layers of soil fell away, something far greater than stone began to surface, something that would silence doubt itself. Before we continue, subscribe for more discoveries where faith meets archaeology, and don't forget to turn on notifications for our next revelation from the Holy Land. Long before modern Jerusalem rose, pilgrims once came to these waters, seeking cleansing, healing, and hope. The Pool of Siloam was their sacred gateway, a place where dust-covered travelers washed before entering the temple of God. Over time, the world forgot. Empires built over its ruins, and the pool sank beneath the weight of centuries. Scholars whispered it never existed, claiming the Gospel's account was only a parable. For critics, the story of the blind man healed by Jesus was nothing more than poetic symbolism. But what if the story wasn't symbolic at all? What if every stone, every step carved beneath the city still held the memory of that miracle? As silence stretched across 2,000 years, Jerusalem kept her secret, waiting for the moment the world would finally look down and see. And that moment began with an accident. For generations, the Pool of Siloam lived only on the pages of Scripture. Historians called it folklore, poets borrowed its name for verse, and skeptics said it never existed at all. They argued the Gospel of John had confused myth with memory, that no such pool could lie beneath the city of David. In classrooms and books, the story of Jesus healing the blind was quietly filed under legend. Believers held on anyway. To them, absence wasn't proof of error. It was the silence before discovery. Yet even faith can grow weary under wave after wave of doubt. Each century added one more layer of disbelief, one more reason to move on. Then, one summer day in 2004, the ground itself decided it had heard enough. Steel met stone. A worker stared, and what he uncovered cracked the silence of centuries. It began without ceremony. A broken sewage pipe on Jerusalem's southern slope, just above the old city of David. Bulldozers rumbled, earth shifted, and then a hollow sound echoed through the dirt. Workers paused. Beneath their boots lay a pattern no random stone could make. Wide, cut steps descending into darkness. They called in archaeologists, expecting maybe a cistern, maybe a remnant of some forgotten wall. What they found was far larger, far older, and far too precise to dismiss. As mud and soil fell away, the outline of a massive pool began to surface, its ancient steps wide enough to hold hundreds of pilgrims. Drains, channels, and limestone blocks whispered of design, not accident. For the first time in nearly 2 millennia, sunlight touched the very stones where faith once walked. And then the digging reached deeper, and something even greater emerged. Archaeologists brushed away the last layers and realized what they were standing on wasn't a pool for bathing. It was a monument of worship. Each step led down to a basin that matched the dimensions described by ancient records. The mud gave up pieces of pottery, fragments of lamps, and water channels that once pulsed with Hezekiah's tunnel. Every chisel mark, every stone groove spoke of purpose. The lead archaeologist froze. "This isn't Byzantine," he murmured. "This is the Second Temple period." The timeline had just leapt back over 2,000 years. Maps were compared, measurements matched. Then came the stunning truth. This was the Pool of Siloam, the same place named in the Gospel where a blind man found sight and faith found flesh. But how did such a holy site vanish for so long? The answer waited beneath even older rock. Centuries before Jesus walked those steps, another king had ordered their waters to flow. Jerusalem was under threat, hemmed in by the armies of Assyria. King Hezekiah, knowing the city's only spring lay outside its walls, commanded his builders to carve a secret tunnel through solid rock, 1,700 feet of sheer determination. That tunnel still runs beneath the city, channeling the lifeblood of the Gihon Spring directly into what would become the Pool of Siloam. Scripture had recorded it, the tunnel, the conduit, the pool. But for generations it sounded like legend until the hard evidence rose again from the dirt. The same system that saved Jerusalem from invasion would later serve pilgrims seeking purity before entering the temple. And now that memory carved in stone was whispering its oldest story yet, a path that led upward to another discovery. From the pool's edge, archaeologists traced a faint line of stone running north. What began as curiosity turned into revelation, a broad, paved road buried deep beneath modern streets. As the team followed it, a pilgrimage route the Bible had only hinted at came back to life. Step after step, the road climbed toward the Temple Mount, its surface worn smooth by the sandals of generations. This wasn't a side path, it was Jerusalem's main artery of worship. Pilgrims would wash in the Pool of Siloam, then ascend along this sacred corridor, carrying songs, prayers, and water for temple rituals. The stones still bear their footsteps. And amongst those ancient traces, one can almost hear the echo of another traveler, one who called himself the living water. But what the diggers found along that road would confirm more than anyone expected. As archaeologists cleared the pilgrimage road, their brushes began to uncover tiny, glinting witnesses, coins, thousands of them, scattered like forgotten prayers. Each one carried the image of kings and dates that told an undeniable story. Many were minted in the 1st century, the very years the Gospels describe. One even bore the mark of the year 29 AD, right in the midst of Jesus' ministry. There was no legend here, no distant symbolism. These artifacts confirmed that the road and the pool were alive with worshippers exactly when Scripture said they were. Every coin that surfaced chipped away another layer of skepticism. History itself had spoken, and it spoke in the language of evidence. Yet, as undeniable as these discoveries were, their true power lay not in metal or mortar, but in what they meant for the soul of every believer. For generations, faith and doubt had walked on opposite sides of the same road. Now they met on these ancient steps. The Pool of Siloam was never just about water. It was about vision, both physical and spiritual. In the days of Hezekiah, its water saved a city. In the days of Jesus, it opened the eyes of the blind. And today, its rediscovery opens the eyes of a modern world that believed such faith was buried forever. Archaeology had spoken, but something deeper stirred in the silence that followed. These stones seem to whisper a message as old as light itself, that truth does not fade, it only waits to be revealed. But even as this revelation swept through Jerusalem, one final mystery remained, a clue hidden in plain sight, pointing to what still lies beneath. Beneath the city of David, excavations continue. Each season exposes another layer, another fragment of the story still sealed in the earth. The newly restored steps glisten again under sunlight, but archaeologists believe the pool stretches far beyond what's been uncovered. Somewhere deeper, the rest of its walls and courtyard still sleep under modern streets, waiting to rise. For believers, that waiting feels familiar. Every shovelful and dust moved aside mirrors the slow uncovering of faith itself, proof coming to light, one breath, one stone at a time. The Pool of Siloam is no longer legend, it's a mirror reflecting the durability of truth. Yet experts whisper that something even older, something predating the pool's known structure, may rest beneath its foundations. The dig isn't over. And if what lies below matches what Scripture hints, the story of Jerusalem may have only just begun.